Hey, welcome to Tank Talk. I'm your host, Bob Tankard. And my special guest this evening is Roy Cutrer, candidate for Selectman for Tisbury.
Yeah.
Right, Roy?
Select board.
Hey, great. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. You know, it's always important, Roy, to tell people a little bit about yourself before we get into the meat of the subject.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about Roy.
Well, thank you for having me, Bob.
Okay.
I really do appreciate
Okay.
the opportunity to come meet with you.
Okay.
Who am I? I mean, we moved to the island in 1997, so I was a little over. It's over 20 years ago. When we first came to the island, it was my wife, myself, my wife, and our son Mike. Back in 1997, since moving here, we've had two daughters that were born at the OB, the hospital in Oak Bluff. So, we've acclimated, and we love the vineyard.
Now, Mike, what do you do professionally?
Professionally, I'm a real estate broker.
Okay.
What do I do professionally? I'm a real estate broker.
Okay.
I do other things
Okay.
to bring in income
Okay.
and to
Right.
provide for my wife, my
Right.
family on the island.
But I can say the real estate thing is going crazy, isn't it?
The real estate's doing well for me.
Right.
But like I said, I
Do other things.
I do other things also.
Okay. One of the things that happened, is that when people run for an office, the main question that is always asked them, why?
Why?
Why is Mike
Roy.
Roy?
That's okay.
Right? That's
That's okay.
Why did Mike go to California? Why is Roy running for selectman?
Well, I can tell you why Roy's running for selectman. To begin with, I've been on the Board of Assessors in the town of Tisbury for 19 years.
Really?
19 years. And I've been elected 7 times. At the end of this term, if I was to finish this term, it would be 21 years on the Board of Assessors. And that's 21 consecutive years.
So you've seen a lot of changes, and also you've seen or see a lot of need.
I've seen a lot of changes in property values, and I see a lot of need.
Okay, when you talk about changes, most people that I've come in contact with, including myself, when change has to take place, they find it a little difficult to make that change. Some people are like, I like it the way it is, or it's always been this way, or this, that, and the other. Roy, what are the changes that you see that need to be addressed?
Well, one of the things that we do, on the island and in Vineyard Haven is we are resistant to change.
Okay.
We met resistance to change when the Stop and Shop project first came up years ago.
Okay.
And the reason
you said the Stop and Shop project. Explain that.
The Stop and Shop project in Vineyard Haven.
Explain that
when
a little
they
bit.
wanted to enlarge the Stop and Shop, raise it up, add parking underneath. And what a lot of people felt is they didn't want this monster of a grocery store sitting there when they came off the boat. But what we have is less than that. We have basically we have, the Stop and Shop storefront. I mean, it's old. It's,
And we don't have,
right.
I don't mean to interrupt, but let's face it. My wife and I have to go to Edgartown to find the expansion items that the Stop and Shop should sell that they don't sell
in Vineyard
Haven.
Yeah.
And you have a large population in Vineyard Haven and in Oak Bluffs.
Right.
So why wouldn't the people say, yeah, we need a bigger meat counter. We need a bigger vegetable counter. We need a bigger counter. We need more space to offer the people that are coming off the boat and the people that are coming in from the town a variety of things instead of them having to go out of town to get it. Cronings did that. They did a beautiful job in expanding their place. And people go there and get everything they need. You know what I mean? So why wouldn't the people let the Stop and Shop do it?
I think that at the time, the select board at the time, and I mean, this was several years ago.
Quite a few.
Several years ago. I mean, I think at the time that, some of the members of the select board were against it. And again, resisting change.
Okay, but I want to jump across the parking lot from that is the police station.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I heard things, but at one point in time, they fought to get the police station there.
Right.
Okay. The police station is built, looks good and whatnot. Now, I heard it's not sufficient. We need to look at putting a police station someplace else.
Someplace else.
Okay, and and it could be true because you have the police station there. You used to have the EMTs there.
Oh, right.
But they moved to the fire station,
right.
Which is a better place to get out of
Absolutely.
on the emergencies and whatnot.
Especially in August.
So now you're looking at the police station being there, and I could say, yeah, why can't the police station? To me, Bob Tankard, town voter, a town taxpayer, I could see the police station being up there by the fire station. I said, I don't see why they shouldn't be together. All that emergency equipment being together, they all take off at the same time for fire. They all take off at the same time for an emergency on the road. Why wouldn't they be there? And look at the police station and say, affordable housing. Turn it into affordable housing. What are your thoughts? Am I barking up the wrong tree?
Well, affordable housing, let's come back to that.
Okay, let's come back.
But, the police station where it is, and the priorities of the town right now, I mean, we have other projects,
right.
On board right now that we need to concentrate on. The Tisbury School is a huge project that we need to handle that, put that first right now, and then prioritize some.
And then where do you think that you talked about something that's on the burner?
Yeah,
that's on the mind of a lot of individuals. You know what I mean? People are looking at, how much is going to put my taxes up? Yeah. Can I afford my taxes? I believe in the school system. Yeah. I think kids should have an opportunity to have a great education with a facility to be able to manage that and to provide that. Right. But what about my tax? How are you hearing people? What are you hearing people say?
The majority of the people that I talk to are in favor of the Tisbury School. The majority of the people I talk to understand or feel that the Tisbury School is one of the cornerstones of the community. And if you don't have a strong school, your community is going to be a little off kilter. Right. That's what I hear from the majority of the people.
So you figure those people, because that's got to go to the polls.
That's got to go.
Okay, and we all know.
Right. Town meeting and then the polls.
Okay, we all know that town meeting, people might stand up and say one thing.
Yeah.
But when they get inside the booth and they're by themselves, it's a different story. You know what I mean? Do you feel confident that the individuals that you have spoken with are going to say yay for the school?
I feel confident, and I believe that there is a large population of voters in the town of Tisbury that recognize the importance of the Tisbury School. Whether they have school kids there or whether their kids have already gone through there. It's like I mentioned that Michael moved here when he was about 2 years old. And since then, we had two more children, Annabelle and Sophie. All three of those kids went through the Tisbury School. Two of them have finished the high school, and we have one left at the high school, Sophie, the youngest. And I think there's a lot of families out there that are in that situation that had kids that went through the school already, right? And they recognize the power of the Tisbury School, you know what I mean, as far as the educators and everyone that works there. They recognize the power of the Tisbury School, and we want to keep it strong. We want all of the kids that live in the town of Tisbury to be able to go to the Tisbury School and then work their way up through the high school.
What would it be if all of a sudden a movement started to say, let's get the middle school going. Let's make all our schools K-5 and let's go 6, 7, 8 middle school and put that someplace. What would your thoughts be on that?
Well, I'll be honest. I'm just going to be totally honest.
Okay, that's what I want.
I'm not a huge fan of regionalization. I mean, there's going to be there's places for it, and there aren't places for it. As far as regionalizing the middle school island wide, that's a huge project, and you'd have to get all the towns on board.
Okay, yes, right.
And I just don't see that happening. You getting all the towns on board for that type of project. I could be wrong.
No, okay. You could be very right. Well, you must be very right because it hasn't happened.
So,
you know what I mean? So, and it was brought up probably more than 20 years ago. It was brought up to try to regionalize. What I'm looking at now is everybody, even on the Cape, is having difficulties with housing. Affordable housing, affordable rental units. People can't even put up help because there's no place for them, the help to stay. We don't have dormitories or whatever you want to call
workforce
them.
housing.
For help, you know what I mean? How can the island selectmen collectively, along with the other powers to be, come together to figure out this issue?
Well,
and they say, well, we don't have land. Well, it's not really that true. You know what I mean? Just not too long ago, a month ago, over in Barnstable County, got approved from the state to, I think it was 25 acres or 50 acres of forest land to build a rifle range on. Now, I'm saying to myself, a rifle range, 25 acres of forest land. What's more important, a rifle range or affordable housing, to people? And I began to think of saying, we have a ton of forest land around here, state forest land. And every town has it in it, basically. So what if we decided to come together and say, let's go to the government, the powers that be, to say, can we have 50, 100 acres throughout the island to build some affordable housing? Now, when I say affordable housing, I'm not talking about housing that people have to buy, because not everybody wants to be an owner.
Right.
We need
rental units.
I would think, if I were to start out, I wouldn't say affordable houses to own. I'd say houses to rent.
Right.
And each town that the houses is in picks up the rental every month and everything else, and they take care of it, right?
What rentals do is rentals give people a foothold.
Exactly.
On the island. It gives you an opportunity to save, to grow, and then possibly move up, buy a home.
Right.
Or it gives you a place to just live for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years without having to worry about moving, without having to worry that your landlord is going to choose to sell the house you're living in, give you 30 days notice, and now you're out.
Looking for a place that's not there. So my feeling is this, and this is the way I look at it, and help me out if I'm wrong. If we had this land, and whatever land is also available, and we created these, say, 200, 250 one-bedroom, two-bedroom units for people with families and whatnot, and then a sense of a dormitory-like atmosphere for those people that come here. You got, what do you call them, J1 people? J1s, you have people college students that come here and go to work. How would that be accepted by the island selectmen, by the island people? What are your thoughts? You've been in real estate for 100 years, and you met all types of people. And I do realize people will say, I don't want that in my backyard. I realize that. But it's going to have to be in somebody's backyard because it's a need. It's an emergency need.
Well, I haven't been in real estate 100 years.
Okay.
Only 30.
Okay.
But sometimes it feels that way. And I want to kind of just, like the state forest thing, you know what I mean? We have land that around In Tisbury, we have lots
Okay.
that were deemed unbuildable by zoning.
Right.
I think that we need to go back to that. We need to look at maybe the 10,000 square foot lot zoning
Right.
and reduce that down towards the 5,000 square feet to try and create some buildable lots
Sounds good to me.
for some of the people that are ready for home ownership.
Okay.
And you've got Island Housing Trust that I'm sure it would step up to help in, in that situation.
Yeah.
But as far as, rental housing goes, you're right. I mean, we need 200, 250 rentals island-wide.
Right.
And all of the towns. This is an island problem.
It's an island a problem.
Yeah.
It's not just Tisbury or Oakville or Edgartown or Up Island. It's everybody's problem.
And what do we protect the most on Martha's Vineyard? The island character, the character of the island. Do you know what's going to destroy the character of the island? Not having any families living on Martha's Vineyard.
Right.
Having all of the workforce come over on the boat every morning.
Every morning.
The island character, the characters themselves. The island people. I'm a character. Everyone knows that. You know what I mean? The island people themselves. Without the characters of the island, you've got no island.
Let me tell you something. One thing, I took a friend, we were going off island, and I had to pick up some stuff. And I said, we went on an 8:15, but we're going on an 8:15 boat. So we were down there. The boat comes in, and all of a sudden, he's looking, he's saying, wow, where are all these people going? Yeah. It wasn't a weekend, so they couldn't have been just coming to the island just to hang.
They were going to work.
I said, they're going to work. I said, the boat before that has the same amount of people. Yeah. He said, that many people come across here every day to go to work? I said, yeah. I said, but what surprises me more than anything? He said, what? I said, I know about 24 of those people that come off that boat, that first one and the second one, that used to live here and grew up here. Yeah. And they come over here every morning because they couldn't afford to stay. They didn't have a house here anymore. And they went off island and they come over here to work every day. I said, that shouldn't be.
No.
That should not be. You're talking about the character of the island. And, it's like having somebody else live in your house because you can't live there anymore, and the characters change. Yeah. The character of the island will change if the island people that was born and raised here can't stay here anymore.
Can't stay here.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It can't stay here. We have to make the necessary changes to make things happen. Yeah. How would you begin to facilitate that? How would you begin to look at that issue? Because you couldn't just look at it, I don't think, as it's the town of Tisbury. Right. How would you work within the selectmen, the joint selectmen board? How would you do that?
Well, as I mentioned, Island Housing Trust.
Right.
There's other organizations that are doing their part and trying to create and make changes, create affordable housing and make changes. The housing bank, is out there. They're trying to make changes, positive changes. Unfortunately for the housing bank, I think that's going to require legislation. And the last time that went up for legislation, there was, major lobbies against it. So it didn't pass at that time.
But how do you sell it to the communities? How do you sell it to the people?
The housing
the idea. How do you sell it? You can sell it to the person easily that is looking for a home. Yeah. But can you sell it to the person, when you said going from 10,000 square feet down to 5,000, R5,
on the lot.
R10 lots, R10 to
R5. How do I sell the whole process?
How do you sell the process?
I mean, that's a tough question to answer. But if I could just say this, we have so many tools at our disposal. I mean, we have 40Bs. There's a couple of 40B projects in Tisbury. Right. One of them is trying to generate as much as 50 affordable housing units. When you say affordable, affordable is from here to here. Right. There's not an exact amount of what is affordable, but what's affordable to me and what's affordable to someone else may be different things, but it doesn't make it not affordable. Right. So we have 40Bs. We have the Vineyard Haven. In Vineyard Haven, we have the lots that I mentioned before.
Right.
The lots that are less than 10,000 square feet that were
Do we have a
made.
lot of those lots?
We have a lot of lots in Vineyard Haven, and I've started to research them. Some of them are off the tax rolls as where they were proven to be unbuildable. There's others out there where homeowners or property owners are still paying taxes on land that may be deemed unbuildable, but they're still paying their fair share of taxes on those properties. I'm not sure if that's what if I made myself clear with that. But there is a list of properties, you know, and it's numerous. There's a lot.
So you figure if Vineyard Haven is one of the smaller towns where the population is the greatest, okay, and the land is not as large as some places like Oak Bluffs or Edgartown, those other towns and Up Island could do the same thing.
We have lots that are 5 to 8,000 square feet that should be considered buildable lots.
That's right.
But because zoning capped it, at 10,000, they're no longer considered buildable. I think that at some point when zoning came in, they had a certain amount of time to build, and then once that time was gone, that opportunity went away. But there are several lots out there. Can I give you an exact number? No. That are possibly buildable. And it's the same way in Oak Bluffs. And I understand, believe me, the ponds around the island, extremely important. Our water quality, absolutely extremely important. But we have got to position ourselves for the future.
Well, here's the problem. I was driving with a friend in Oak Bluffs.
Right.
And as you go down Circuit Avenue, you take your first left, and you go up and you see how close all those houses along the waterfront are close together.
Yeah.
Now you know they can only probably be on 5 acres, R5, not an R10, but an R5, right? And I'm saying to myself, and then I'm going down to my street on Skiff Avenue, and I look how close the houses are together there. They're sitting on an R10. You know what I mean? They all have septic systems. They don't have town sewage or anything else. And I said, they've been there for 100 years, and they've had kids go through and this, that, and the other, and they're surviving. Yeah. So I'm saying with the new sewage systems and everything they have, why couldn't they tighten up a little bit?
Why couldn't they?
And make some of this, those areas pollution free, and continue to have pure water.
Well, like in the area that you spoke of in Oak Bluffs, right? Much of that, much of that is already on sewers. You know what I mean? And I think in Tisbury we're a little behind. I know that last year's town meeting we voted for an expansion, if I remember correctly, to expand the sewer system. So we have a lot more work to do as far as sewering and getting increasing the capacity of the wastewater system.
At least, I look at where can we say we can stop the sewage if depending on it. I'm looking at all downtown needs to be, and they probably are all downtown, and then you start going up to probably Lake Street, around that area, where, you might be able to stop because the houses are a little bit more different. But at least, Edgartown, when they're the first ones that do it, they went downtown to solidify and to control their downtown area. Then they started branching out to various other parts of the town, and I know that Oak Bluffs did the same thing. They started with their downtown because it's heavily in the summertime and the water and the sewage, and then they started branching out past my mom's house on Dukes County Avenue and up around certain things. Why can't we look at that? Why can't we come together? When you talked about regionalization, why can't we come together as a region and look at that issue? Because that issue is affecting all of us. All of us at the same time. It's affecting our ponds.
That's our water quality.
Well,
exactly.
here's the thing. Here's the prime example. I used to go clamming down the end of my street. There's been a sign up there for a year and a half. You can't clam this far. You got to go a little further out. So it's something that's hindering that. Let's clean that up. I think the main thing is this. taxes.
Before we go there.
Okay, go ahead.
Before we go there. I mean, it is a fine line.
Okay.
But you know, there are other situations out there, guest houses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you can create a 1 or 2 bedroom guest house.
That's right.
That 1 or 2 bedroom guest house is
Right.
going to help the property owner
right.
as well as provide
Right.
an affordable place for someone to live. Efficiency apartments, the
Right.
walkout basement apartments. You know, making some of those
Garage apartments.
garage apartments, easing restrictions on some of that. And again, I understand it's the water quality. It's going to come down to water quality, but we have got to provide housing for people that are here year round.
One thing, we got about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Why should I vote for you?
Why should you vote? Why should you vote for me? You know why I think everyone in town of Tisbury should vote for me is because, for one, 19 years on the Board of Assessors.
Right.
That shows commitment.
Right.
Commitment to the town of Tisbury, commitment to the town that my family lives in, commitment to the town that I love living in, right? And I'm ready to move up. The town, I think a lot of the taxpayers and a lot of people I've talked to, they want someone that's going to listen to them and voice their opinion in the meetings. And I think I'm that person. I think that when I was on the Board of Assessors, as a member of the Board of Assessors, we met with taxpayers, we met with nonprofit organizations and business owners, and I always strived to do what was right for the town and fair for the taxpayers. And again, if I'm elected to the Tisbury Select Board, I'm going to do what's right for the town and fair for the taxpayers.
Well, listen, I hope you will.
Thank
I
you
wish
very
you
much.
well. I wish and hope that the dream comes to fruition.
Yeah.
Okay? You know it's a difficult position, but you're a man that meets the challenges. And this is just another challenge in your life.
I'm ready to step up.
So Roy, I wish you well. And tell Mikey when you see him,
I
Coach
will.
says hi.
I'll tell him.
Okay? And I want to thank you for tuning into Tank Talk.
Thank
and
you.
until next time, this is your host, Bob Tankard, saying good evening.